And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm Cloud Hudson, your meteorologist for the evening, your comedian / meteorologist. I'm sure you think a lot of meteorologists are jokers anyway, but I'm one on purpose. Okay, so I'm just going to start today off with a little bit of the last bit of incense that I've got in this pack. It's True Loca Ayurvedic incense cones and the flavor kapha water. Kapha. And I like to feel like I'm an ASMR girly that does the cool crinkly sound. So ASMR of the nice packaging. What's it feel like to open a package of incense? I'm going to dump all the rest of it in my... it's so nice to be over-mic'd. You know what I mean? I just love to be over-mic'd. I'm actually not going to sully this incense with my butane directly. I'm going to light a candle and light this incense from the heat of the candle because it has a cleaner burn. That's what it sounds like. Ooh, candle's angry because I just lit her. I should have given the candle a rest between burns, but here we go. Usually I jump right into it, but today I was feeling like we needed to do something a little special. It's it's Sunday. It's the Superbowl day. For those who worship football, I personally do not worship football, but I respect your choice if that is the religion that you find compelling. I'm not going to discredit your valid perception of the world. I am going to place this into my incense holder, though. My nice little teapot, my little coffee pot incense holder. I usually have a pair of tongs with which to do that, but they're so a part of my setup, I've forgotten where I put them. Okay, go. Place it gently into my black sand. There we go. It's like a nice steaming hot cup of joe. Like, okay, if my white balance worked better, you'd be able to see it a lot. I don't know why my white balance doesn't want to work. Maybe because this white is unbalanced. But here we go. Got my little candle and incense going at the same time. I think we are good to go with continuing the show. So, how is everyone doing tonight? I'm glad that you're here. Nobody's technically here yet. Maybe you're watching the Super Bowl, but that's okay. I still respect that. You can watch this when you get bored of watching grown men tackle each other. Not that I disrespect football at all. It's such a valid way to experience your masculinity. It's really a nice thing to do if you want to be violent without war. That's a good use of that destructive instinct, I think. So let's talk about my Super Bowl, which is the Earth. Hello, everybody. Welcome. If you are watching on Facebook, because I did tell Facebook to stream, then I can't see your comments in real time, but I can see the viewer count change. So you can also click the links in my description to watch me on YouTube, and then you can chat with me. You don't need to make a YouTube account. You can just log in with Gmail if you want, or your throwaway Gmail, whatever you tell people. about. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you so that we can look at the same beautiful visuals curated by the lovely people of volcanodiscovery.com, at least for this current one. I am not embarrassed at all to have survival gear and Jerry's Artorama be my targeted ads. In fact, I feel like it humanizes me if you guys can see what my targeted ads are. I just want to color and I want to survive. Is that asking too much? Is that asking too much in the world? I would like to be alive and have little doodles. I think that's a pretty reasonable ask. So let's go ahead and see who out there is leaning more towards the survival gear right now and who is sitting pretty, making a pretty picture of it. Out in Indonesia, of course, a very active volcanic zone. We've still got lots of activity from Mount Ibu in Halmahera, Indonesia. Volcanic activity continues. We've still also in Flores in Indonesia, we've got Mount Lewatobi, Laki Laki volcano, specifically on Mount Lewatobi, having a moderate pyroclastic flow from the volcano yesterday at about 1808 local time. Gray dilute gravity-driven mass flow raced down the flank, likely through the northwestern review. When pyroclastic flow happens, well, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it's basically they're saying that probably some land caved in over the crater above the hot magma chamber. Something caved in that is not usually getting hot, and there was some explosive when pyroclastic flow resulted from the eruption column collapse or a partial collapse of the crater area, what I was describing, is not yet clear due to the dense atmospheric clouds obscuring the summit at the time of the eruption. Dense atmospheric clouds are not uncommon at eruptive sites, especially with the pyroclastic flow, because the atmospheric weather is happening already, and then an increase in cloud condensation nuclei can also throw off the local mountain meteorology dynamics. So if there was already some fog around the mountain, I don't feel like that's going to clear anytime soon if they just had a pyroclastic flow. Basically, they're saying we can't tell, but something went on up there. It's just too cloudy to see. Maybe you should ask a cloud. I'm not claiming that I know what happened specifically with that specific volcanic eruption. Mount Semeru in East Java, Indonesia, continues its explosive activity with a lot of upward volcanic ash. Same at Mount Merapi, which was the one that back in December, this is a continuation of the explosion that back in December had already killed 22 people, unfortunately. And Lewatobi also was threatening lots of lives, but fortunately people were evacuated in time to avoid any negative effects of that eruption. Still seeing explosive activity from Popo over here in central Mexico. And that is reflected on, we're about to dive into the earthquakes, y'all. Just hang in there. Let me run through what we have actively erupting real quick, and then we'll dive into the earthquakes, because man, you know, it's one of those days where it's just a little bit's happening literally everywhere. Okay, Santiaguito in Guatemala continuing. Fuego, Nevada del Ruiz, and Salancaya also continuing their, well, actually Salancaya unable to detect, but continuing their explosive activity with a lot of volcanic ash being ejected into the atmosphere, upwards of like thousands of meters, a couple kilometers up into the air. Here's what we've got currently erupting. Just scrolling through so y'all know there are always volcanoes erupting, and it's just like, okay, it's just chill. at some places. I was going to say, like, when I visited Mount Etna, it was actively erupting. But that was just like normal. People were like, oh, yeah, it'll be cool if you can see it at night. It glows. And I'm like, it's literally an erupting volcano. Like I said yesterday, it's not as scary if you know that it's erupting and where it's probably erupting from. The scary thing is when you don't know where the where the magma will make itself known and convert it into lava, because it's not lava before it's erupted. It's lava flow above the ground, but it's magma underneath. So we don't know when the magma will make that change to lava. We don't know where that's going to be. That's the scary part. So here's a very convenient, since I've had some trouble with earthquake map viewers lately, not sure why, I'm going to go ahead and continue using the volcano discovery tools. They've got these really nice they've got these nice meters right here that show you where on a scale of below average to above average we are. And we're looking at not insignificant, but not way above average number of quakes. As we creep towards 200 quakes in a day, that'll get pretty high, but we're in the like we're getting a C plus in extreme volcanic activity. It's like, yeah, I guess it's a little above average, but you're not like the best student, 4 quakes above magnitude 5 in the past 24 hours. And this is a map of where we're seeing them. Thankfully, not too many above 5. This also has the nice feature of sorting by location and date and time. So let's see. We had an interesting, I'll get to the United States in a second, because we had an interesting event of 85 self-reported feelings of shaking over near San Diego in California, but no officially recorded seismic activity. So we'll get to that in a second. Let's refresh. Okay. So our most recent earthquakes here are in, we had one in Denali. That's typical. We've got a lot of activity up here in, well, actually not as much in Alaska as we have seen. This is kind of quiet. 4 minutes ago, a magnitude 2, 2.0 at, it doesn't give me the depth on this. Can I get a depth, or is this going to take me to a different page? Oh yeah, it was a moderately deep earthquakes at a 2.0. That's not, you're not going to feel that much. But as we scroll through, earlier today we saw a 5.1 in, it's already updating too many more. Let's all help upgrade their services. I'm going to do this later, but I promise I'll do it later. Okay. 3.4 in Nicaragua, 3 off of South Niigata Prefecture in Japan. We had this 5.4 in the Philippines. We also had, there were several others in the Philippines today. Japan, Chile, Peru, all seeing, Central Peru saw a 4-kilometer, or a 4.0, 2 different 4.0s right back to back, 4 minutes apart. Actually, here's another 4.2 in Peru, Central Peru. We've seen a lot of earthquake activity there recently. I'm interested to see if that has anything to do with the active volcano eruption, though. Saw a 2.6 in Hawaii, Italy. We saw several quakes in both Italy, Argentina, Chile, and Peru today. Indonesia also getting in on the action. Oh yeah, there was a little bit. We saw a 4.8 in Alaska. Costa Rica also getting in on the action, not to be outdone by its neighbors in Central America that are also having a lot of volcanic activity. And as we scroll through, we see, again, Chile, a 5.0 off the coast of Myanmar. Or I'm assuming it's off the coast. I'm going to say northwest of Chok, Myanmar is not off the coast, but in China, let's see, more in Mexico. Andaman Islands, India region is actually more in the middle of the ocean. Let's see. Norastro. Yeah, and another in Oaxaca. Another in Veracruz. We saw near the coast of Honshu, Japan. Japan also had some earthquakes in the Noto Peninsula today. Oh, and the 5.0 in South Pacific Ocean near New Zealand. That's significant to me. Let's see. Saw some in Greece, one in Western China, which is typical after they had earlier in the year a lot of tumultuous activity there. Yeah, here we go. Ishikawa, Japan, and Aomori, Japan. Kazakhstan finally getting back in the action. They've been quiet for a long time. Continuing Indonesia, Venezuela, New Zealand. This is 150 quakes today, and these are only reporting like the 2.0s and above. But this is the weird one that I wanted to look at, because what is 85 people reporting the feeling of an earthquake, but no official recording of it. Now, they were really light and weak shaking reports, apparently. But let's scroll down to where they have some. Yeah, okay. As would occur from a loud boom like an explosion, and the RV moved a little bit, followed by more explosive booms, which did not jolt the RV. El Cajon, California, thought it was a sonic boom of some sort. Woke up to a shaking in Lakeside, California. If I was fast asleep and woke me up. Felt like someone hit our house near El Cajon. I was getting ready to go to sleep and my decorations started swaying. And this is California, where people are really well aware of what a earthquake feels like. And then people, they're thinking the epicenter is pretty close to El Cajon. House kind of rattled, really loud. So people saying there's like, sometimes you don't hear an earthquake, but this is maybe not an earthquake. A lot of people saying the words sonic boom, felt more like a sonic boom. Felt more like a strike or a bump. So looks like this is, I don't know. This is near some places where they test big stuff that goes boom. So it could have been from that. But also, the people who test big stuff that go boom aren't going to tell you what they're up to. So, namely, I'm talking about Edwards Air Force Base. I'm not allowed to say the name on here. I think that probably gets me in big trouble. I'm not allowed to say that I know where any military bases are, because that's illegal. You're not allowed to know that the military exists, except you should be afraid of it forever. Okay. What I'm saying is there was some sort of sonic boom out near San Diego, and people felt it and thought that it might have been an earthquake and reported it. Pretty interesting stuff. That's why I don't live out there, because I would not be able to live out near a lot of stuff in California and not go crazy. So, but this is a good map of our actually reported earthquakes. Oh wait, let's go back. Oh, I went to the wrong page. I went back to their overview. No, I wanted to go back to this, but all the way at the top. Yeah, map. Let's go to map. Okay, so this is a map of all earthquake, both reports and detections. So this includes things like what happened in San Diego area, in the El Cajon area, where it's like, oh, maybe something happened, but it might not have been an earthquake, but we felt the our house shake. That happened there. And over here, and we have some reports over here in Greece, some coming out of Turkey of magnitude 4 and 3. This is the Xinjiang region, and the Kyrgyzstan region, the same area where we got that 7.0 a couple weeks ago. So they're probably still feeling those residual aftershocks. Again, more in Russia and more in off the coast of Honshu, Japan, which is here in the and off the coast of the Noto Peninsula. So that's what they're gonna call this. I mean, they're saying Honshu, Japan, but they're really meaning just northeast of the Noto Peninsula, right? Because that's where we saw. This is where we saw the M7 7.0 magnitude earthquake at the beginning of the like Western Julian calendar, the Gregorian calendar. I mean, at the beginning of the January 1st New Year's, we saw a X-class flare at on the same day that we saw a 7.0 magnitude earthquake off this coast of Japan. And that's kind of an interesting place for Japan to have an earthquake because it's located, I don't know why it won't turn on plates for me, but or maybe it is and I can't, it's shade. There we go. Yeah, okay. So the more normal place for Japan to have earthquakes is at the this little H shape of like 4 plates coming together. And actually, funny enough, on a different earthquake viewer, I have convergent boundaries in yellow and divergent ones in red. And it looks like, since I know that these are convergent boundaries, it looks like this map is actually showing convergent boundaries in red. So that's interesting. And maybe transform still seems to be in blue. But anyway, this area of Japan has been quite active this year, and it's really interesting to see persistent earthquakes there. It just looks like, I don't know. When I look at earthquake maps, I think of bubbling, like water boiling, if you've ever watched that and watched the stage of it where you see just like seed bubbles coming to the top. It's completely random, essentially, where the streams of bubbles are placed in the pot, but it's not random that they will be streams going up. That's hot spots. And that's kind of comparable to what I've talked about from my earthquake book. The other day I talked about hotspot type volcanoes. And that's what Hawaii, the Hawaiian island chain is. It's the on pasta water, how from that pillar of boiling air bubbles that goes to the top, the starches condense on the top of the boiling water. That's like an island in a hotspot island chain, and they float up to the surface, and the surface keeps drifting around over top of where, deep in the boiling pot, there's still a hot spot putting most of the percolating gas and escaping vaporizing water in the same vertical column. It's just that once it gets to the top, or like the layer of the Earth's crust, it starts to float around because the shell or the skin on top of the Earth is moving around over that hotspot, just like a little boiling pasta water. Okay. Now that I've talked enough about pasta in relation to plate tectonics, I think it's time to move on to our terrestrial weather. I don't want to downplay anything going on here in South America and Central America either, because this is nothing to sneeze at. They've got several threes and fours, and I think some above 5.0 from central Peru down to Chile and Argentina. And even off the coast of Venezuela and here in Puerto Rico, again, still having a lot of activity. Um, and then here just north of New Zealand, and there were also reports of it's not showing me on this part of the map, but on this little part, there was a report later down here of a earthquake in the Vanuatu Islands. So let's see. Number of quakes by magnitude. That's how many quakes we've been having. So really interesting stuff. If you want to support volcanodiscovery.com, please do. Let's look at our energy distribution. Bulk of them. The mode of this is over here between 1.5 and 2. Not a whole lot, but it's kind of weird when you think about. Anyway, never mind. Not saying that. Magnitude and seismic energy over the past 24 hours, though, you can see a pretty interesting trend in a little bit of an uptake in seismic energy being put out by these relatively similarly spaced in time, but getting bigger. If you were watching a pot boiling, you would see the bubbles getting bigger. This is the bubbles getting bigger. Okay, that's all I have to say about volcanoes and earthquakes. Just boil some pasta and see how that goes. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our terrestrial weather for today, because, ooh, buddy, we kind of had a meteorological flop today. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The Storm Prediction Center did issue both slight risk watch and a moderate risk. Let me pull up their actual. Well, I'm going to pull it up in a different tab so you guys can see the pretty pictures while I'm pulling it up. Again, we've got my favorite product from Goes East, the Eastern Continental United States. That's what CONUS means. It's not some magical spell word that turns you into a cone head. CONUS means continental US. I know. Great. When you realize that scientists just name stuff easy things sometimes, you realize that they're all big dummies. No, you don't realize scientists are dumb. You realize that you are actually as smart as a scientist. I'm here to help you guys realize that you already know science. You just know it through much different terms than academic scientists discuss it through. All right, let's see. Oh, look at that. Just in the past, look at that inflow into the backside of this storm in Texas. I'm sorry. I was going to pull up our watches and warnings, and I got distracted by the derived winds. Let's see what our okay. So I want to go to, where was our meso discussion from yesterday? See, this is why I like to pull it up beforehand, but then I started talking and I got distracted by myself. I distracted myself mid-conversation, and I didn't know. Okay, let's go 2024 0210. Get thunderstorm outlooks. Okay. What was the forecast? What was the forecast? What was the forecast? All right. Well, I'm not finding the forecast I wanted to pull up, so I'm not going to show it. But basically, we had the conditions, the type of conditions in this area were really favorable for tornadoes. And a lot of meteorologists went out to chase. And let's see, were there any tornadoes today? One tornado reported in the past 48 hours. So not a great bet for anybody who went out to storm chase. It was a bit of a bust for them. But I mean, we always got to be thankful for safety. Everyone's safety. Yeah, it was just north of Houston. Sunday at 9:05 a.m., a brief thin tornado. Let me pull up this map for you guys from Tornado Paths from University of Michigan. Yeah, really not too exciting. It was kind of depressing for such a beautiful setup for severe weather. It looks like well, it looks like just in the past hour, this inflow jet has developed itself. Like this is getting more of a nice convective pattern. The orientation of the wind streams are more favorable for spinning up a little tornado right now, but we're now in nighttime. So we typically only the deep south sees a lot of nocturnal tornadoes. So I'm not going to rule out that there's any risk, because there is, but let's go to I'm going to pull it up again. Let's take a look, but keep looking at the derived winds product here. Remember, yellow meaning the lowest level winds, cyan being the wind barbs representing the mid-level, and red representing the upper level winds. You see a lot of this cyclonic rotation here. That's trying to spin up into the low that we've got these forecasted snowstorms. The forecasters are calling for snow throughout the Ohio River Valley, and the models certainly are trending that way, but it really depends on how cold this can get. There's definitely going to be some good rainfall, at least, throughout the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, but we're really not sure. I'm really not sure if this is going to have enough balls to be snow or not, But this is a pretty decent, whenever you see I see this as a cardioid curve. I don't know if you guys can see it, but a little heart shape where this is like the middle of this is the thumb. This is the hand part in the heart shape. But upside down, it's an upside down heart. This storm is, and it's lobing off well. So as long as this doesn't get cut off from the big source of upper level jet momentum, it could do something pretty nice back here. Pretty nice as in being a mean storm, but we had a slight risk today. Let's see what yeah. So this is kind of what it looked like yesterday. This is very similar to yesterday's convective outlook. They had a slight risk and a marginal risk. For much of it was just backed up just a slight bit. And then tomorrow, the risk for tomorrow is looking as considerable as it was today. However, today's weather kind of fizzled out. kind of flopped. We kind of flopped with the tornadoes today. Maybe tomorrow will be better, but that's all I've got to report. I'm not a forecaster. I'm just telling you what actually happened. What actually happened was some significant hail, some heavy rainfall, and let me not downplay. There are flash flood warnings in effect in Louisiana, in southern Mississippi. There's some flood watches. So, and this area has just gotten drenched this whole winter. I almost said summer. This whole winter, this area has gotten drenched. And this is the same atmospheric river that's coming from the Eastern Pacific into the southeastern United States here. And it's kind of like stirring up. Okay, does somebody like really need me? Can y'all just like shut up for a second? Okay. Yeah, no, I don't need to answer any of that. Yes, by the way, I do have a flip phone. I use a flip phone because I'm too ADHD to not stare at my phone all day unless it's a tiny screen. If the companies want to optimize your attention, you can reverse optimize it right back. Don't give them your attention. Don't give them your AdSense. Okay. I'm such a big flip phone proponent. I'm such a big flip phone proponent that I don't even know where to begin advocating for it. It's just very good for your mental health to get on a flip phone. Now, I realize everybody's jobs don't allow them to do that. That's why I finally... you can get an iPod Touch and a flip phone, a dumb phone, or you can get a Chromebook to do apps, or you can get a flip phone that does apps these days. It is possible. They make it for construction workers. Look into it. Very helpful if you're as clumsy as I am. Okay. So here, let's take a look at null Earth for a second. I want to see... I actually want to see our particulates. Where's our particulate matter looking bad? Dust extinction will show us some good cloud condensation nuclei. Where there's higher dust extinction, that means you can't see through the air as well because of the dust. See visible light through the air. And you see that's like a lot of it coming off of the Sahara Desert. That's what forms the cloud condensation nuclei for. Okay, I'm saying CCNs like you guys get it because I assume you're all nerds. But if you're not a nerd, in order for water to condense into a cloud, it has to actually stick to something that's not water first, unless there's ice particles. But two liquid waters don't always want to stick together because they're both polarized and blah, 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 blah. They'll want to continue being apart. You want something that's something that is not hydrophobic, a hydrophilic. You need a water-loving substance to stick the water molecules to in order to create the cloud droplet. Because you actually don't, the clouds you're seeing aren't actually water vapor. They're areas of concentrated liquid water suspended buoyantly in the atmosphere. Oh my God, that's so many words and concepts. But just know that you need a little bit of, just like I talked about yesterday, you need a little grit to get your storm going from a topographical standpoint. You want a little bit of mountain to lift over. You need a little grit for the clouds to actually form. So that's what dust extinction, aerosol optical thickness can show us, is where the places where clouds can form are coming from, where the little cloud Velcro is. And you see some of our cloud Velcro in the Pacific coming from Siberia and the Gobi Desert, a lot of Western China and southeastern Russia is where the Pacific gets its cloud condensation nuclei. And honestly, you can see such beautiful swirls in just the dust extinction maps alone. Look at that. Doesn't that remind you of something? That remind you of maybe like Rossby waves on the sun or something? Well, space weather scientists and terrestrial atmospheric science, Earth weather scientists and sun weather scientists have reinvented the same wheels, and I mean wheels literally because I'm talking about spirals a lot, but they use the same dynamics on just like incredibly different scales. So we go from Earth weather looking like these little swirls having inverse types of behavior on the north and south hemispheres, northern and southern hemispheres, to the sun. So actually, well, before that, let's just look at what our jet stream is doing, because I just showed you the surface winds with our CCNs. When you go up to the upper level, so between 850 and 500 hectopascals is usually where you want to look for clouds forming, depending on what conditions we're under. And the relative humidity at these levels, at like the 700 level, is going to show us where we're likely to have the right conditions for stuff to condense if we had things to condense onto. And as we just saw, we did have most of the country covered in some pretty good particulate matter. And there's high enough relative humidity here in the northern, that's surprising to see the northern side of this circulation, northwestern side of the circulation have a decent humidity on it. That's not bad. It could be because this is the colder area and it's nighttime and blah, blah, blah. I'm just theorizing far too much. Let's talk about, there's actually clearly precipitation happening throughout the southeast right here. So let's stop speculating and look at, as we move up in the atmosphere, you can see the strong alignment of the jet level, the atmospheric global, like it's in a, let's see, if we zoom out and look at the Earth from here, this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's kind of hard to count the wave number of the ring of the jet stream around the Earth. This is the expansion of the northern polar vortex during the wintertime season. But really getting that, it's really surprising to see this break down into such a strong Pineapple Express effect. This is an atmospheric river. This is part of what creates the atmospheric river, at least, is what I mean. This here is a jet streak, and that is really helping this lobe and this lobe create some of those beautiful spiral patterns that we saw earlier. And this is part of what's doing that. Like, this is a conveyor belt of heat and moisture up into the eastern United States, setting us up for some decent mixing. See, you've got this little jet streak way up here coming down and mixing in the storm that we see forming itself over Texas right now. That's going to sweep into the eastern United States and maybe do something for Valentine's Day. We're maybe looking at some Valentine's Day flurries and snow for folks. But then again, I haven't kept up on our Farmer's Almanac or my astrometeorology, so I have not gotten a good sense from traditional methods of what our weather would be like. So that's why I'm not a forecaster. I'm just gonna, all I can do is look at what actually happened, folks. I'm not thinking that far ahead, you know? I'm just like, what just happened? again, to all my viewers, anybody watching me on Facebook, this is just a reminder, I can't see any of the comments on Facebook live because it doesn't port over to my Talk Video Streamlabs. Shout out to Streamlabs. Thank you. You're great. Thanks for having a free open broadcasting web player. Okay. Maximum X-ray flux of the past year. With all that said, let's zoom out of the terrestrial weather to go to our solar weather, because as we know, the atmosphere is a gradient and doesn't technically end. There's no harsh line of this is atmosphere and this is not. There's actually no lines between anything if you're just zoomed out too far if you think there's a line there. But anyway, we've got a moderately high solar wind speed, and our X-ray flux is not as high as it has been in the past 2 days, but that makes a lot of sense. But we are expecting yesterday's two massive, yesterday and the day before's massive solar flares that were Earth directed to make Earth contact tomorrow. So and that was for all of you studying, following along at home. That's what I was kind of hinting at when I was like, this weekend's this new moon, this new year, this wood dragon year is gonna be big. Let's see, late last night after I broadcast, we got this type 2, or maybe I think I did have this type 2 in the broadcast. We've had, let's see, from 32 to 42. We had 10 coronal mass ejections today. Several look to be pretty large and fast, but they're not looking like total halo events. But let's still look at this one. Look at this orb. Do we see this fun, like, peacock feather orb looking thing? That's not even the ejection that this one is targeting. This one's targeting this ejection. That's the big fast guy right there. But this is a really interesting extension. I am very curious what that's all about. Let's see if there's anything at a similar angle. That was at 227. What happened at 223? It'll show. Oh, no. Oh, right, because that's not even the angle I was looking at. That's beautiful, though. Man, that is a really active sun. That's a pretty sun. That is just wild. What is that? What is this little, like, bubble thing? I'm so curious about that. I want to see that on the big Solar Dynamics Observatory. And now it's gone. It's out of view by there. So did we get anything in this one? No, it's out of view by then. Oh, yeah, because this was visible up here at like 9:30 in the morning. Around 9:30 in the morning, we saw really interesting. That's not even what they're noting. That's not even the coronal mass ejection that they're noting. That's just something weird. Let's go ahead and look at, before we get sucked into the pretty pictures, let's look at X-ray flux. Look at our solar flare chart for today. After we had 2 days ago, 3 days ago, no, 2 days ago. Oh, it's technically the 12th. I'm broadcasting for my February 11th cap, but we'll call it 2 days ago. Friday. We'll call it Friday. However many days ago you feel like that was. Friday was that X-class flare that gave us the moderate blackout in South America, followed by 1, 2, 3, almost 4 M-class flares within the same day. And then yesterday we had almost X-class flare again, and this one, the M9.4, 9.04, is the one that their little side ticker in the corner there is referring to when they say M9 solar flare directed at Earth. That's the one that's like it is barely not an X class, and it was headed straight for Earth after we already got an X class that was mainly headed like to the pretty clear of Earth, but still probably going to send a ripple effect through the interplanetary magnetic field. And then today, what did I say yesterday? I said we're probably going to dip down into lower sea territory, maybe even see some B activity. And what have we seen? Barely one spike into the upper M class territory. I don't know why they're saying, oh, they're saying past 2 hours. C 6.3 is nothing to sneeze at, but we had did have an M1 today. Now let's see, wonder where those came from. They haven't said where that came from. We had a 3.1 from 3576. That's the Earth directed one. Let's see. X, is it gonna, can I can't click on days. That's fun. I think I have to click on the individual solar spots to sunspots to look at where these flares came from. 3576 is the one that we've been watching since it was on the flank that everybody's expecting something big out of. Well, everyone's looking for something big out of. Maybe we're not all looking for something big out of it. If I sneezed, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Let's go for, let's take a look at 3576. Yeah, it's looking gnarly. It's looking like an infection. It's looking like a little spermy guy. It's looking like a silly little emoji. I mean, that's what I think. I think all intensity grams look like a silly little emoji. But can you not see? Maybe he's wearing an eye patch and then he's saying "arr." I don't know. Little pirate. But look at how intricate the like fractal looking nature is. Look at that fern leaf looking pattern. Really cool to see the tapering off, and like it's almost like you can see the viscosity of the fluid if you think of this as a fluid. I know it's technically not in a fluid state. It's not matter in a fluid state, but it's something acting with the motion, with the dynamics, the fluid dynamics. It's something that can be described analogously through fluid dynamics. So I'm going to call it a fluid-like substance. The fluid-like substance that's making up this sunspot region is, you can see its viscosity like taper off and get sucked into these side eddies, like that's the noise that I hear when I look at this shape. It's almost looks like little devil horns or something, but I'm not going to say that because then people will go crazy. But we're almost completely missing this delta spot that had made it a beta gamma delta type sunspot. So it's really, I want to see, I need to find where I can go back and look at archives of this as a GIF as it crosses the sun's surface, because it's really molded itself beautifully as it's evolved across the sun. But it doesn't, oh no, it's not showing me the flares that it caused. Okay, well, that's even what I wanted. So let's go ahead and look at the, before we get sucked into the pretty pictures, let's look at what Enlil has modeled for these recent. Oh no, they don't have the one I'm looking for on here. I think the WSA is the one that's got the model, and it has trouble loading sometimes. What if I loaded just like 2 hours ago? Is that easier? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the Space Weather Prediction Center is the one where we see they have tried to model not one, but two solar flares at once. And that's really cool because it takes their models a long time. They're big Chungus models. They They just chug along. We got 3-in-1 model. Fun. Okay. So you can see in the density gram that I guess it's a row gram. I don't know. Plasma density depiction up here. You can see that incredibly intense, like full halo. This is the remember those 2 full halo eruptions we got? Those were not even the X flare that we were talking about. These are the subsequent M flares that ended up being full halos that had all those radiation particles with them. So this is the density. This is the actual hand in the water. The analogy I'm setting up is, imagine you're in a pool or a bathtub and you skim your hand through the surface of the water and you see the big roll of water behind your hand. The plasma in this analogy is the hand going through the water, and radial velocity here is going as the analog of the water all around the density, where actually inside the hand, molecules not moving too fast. Molecules in the water around the hand moving very fast. So you see the little ripples that these plasma density, like in heightened areas of density, cause as a ripple effect as they like scooch from the sun towards the earth. And you can see that in these lobes of increased radial velocity. And that's like velocity as you're going. Radial velocity is taking into account the fact that it's already going in a circle from a baseline. So this is the velocity that's more. Oh, look who finally played. Wow, I have not gotten this animation to play without me clicking through on forward in weeks. So they really wanted to show off. I think they're watching my broadcast. I want to be like, look what we can do. Look, we can model interacting waveforms. And in that, looks like in these interacting waveforms, we're going to have some powerful solar wind making its way to the Earth. Earth being the green dot here, and stereo A and stereo B are the stereo, like in music in stereo, it's the satellites that are in stereo on each side of the Earth, getting like slightly ahead and slightly behind of Earth's position in the east-west plane. In the ecliptic plane. This is top down. These circular slices are top down looking at the ecliptic plane, and these quarter slices are the ones that are like vertical looking. I believe it's west to east. So this is looking top down. This is looking side on. And it's kind of funny how similar both of these are. Like, they're still just very clearly big bursts of energy headed straight for the Earth. So, I mean, it looks a little bit. This is where you can see if it's going to clear the planet. It looks like, and I'm not talking about Scientology. Sorry, I do love true crime. I love watching documentaries. My favorite true crime is cults. That's such a crime. But anyway, what I was talking about is the solar wind clearing the planet. If it is going to go above or below where Earth is located, it looks like it will head a little bit further south, like the densest part of this wave, also the fastest solar wind. But all the other solar wind that's headed this way is not nothing either. And then we look back here at the Enlil, and they're still just showing the basic Parker spirals. And I think they just now, I think this is the X class, they just now modeled on the other side of the Earth. Like, thank you very much for showing us nothing. At least the Space Weather Prediction Center is trying to show us when these areas of elevated plasma flux are fluxing, when they're going to flux through the Earth plane. Okay, so for all that weird word, I mean, that's a pretty picture anyway. But let's take a look at the, Oh, here's where I can look at the magnetogram GIF. Okay. This shows, again, I believe it's north in red, orange, and south in blue, green of magnetic orientation and strength. This is the area I want to look at as being a really cool blobby entity. You see it stretching out. Oh, it's almost curving now. Okay, so I think, can I open a new tab and then zoom? Does zoom work better in this? Nope, won't let me zoom. But you can see it a little better. See this curve move into looking more like a full circle as it goes from being a wavy line of south and north weaving together into more of an orientation of like a little horn or the top of the Mercury symbol or the Taurus symbol. It's really changing shape there, which is so cool and so pretty to see. I'm just really excited to see what we get out of this one. And there's a new spot rotating into Earth view. I think it's 3584 that has already been a significant flare player, as Tamitha Scove calls them. And then we see these nice sunspot pairs up here in the northern hemisphere. Also not looking insignificant. So we've got a lot to look at, but let's just take a look at the pretty stuff. Let's look at the actual let's look at the vibes. The vibes. 48 hours includes last night's broadcast, but this is where I'm curious about. This is the area of the sun where that lobe, that circle, that peacock feather shape came from. So I still don't know what that is. Yeah, I mean, looks like we're really like inflating these plasma tubes. Partial to 193 again, because I was born in 1993 and I just love those numbers. Look at that boiling, arcing beauty. Got a bit of a filament eruption right there. Did you see that? And we've got some, like a hole trying to form itself right now. Let's look at that again. I'm so curious about both this coronal hole and then here we're about to launch it. Yeah, there we go. That was more of a there, and there's another one. And here's a filament tornado, a filament vortex spinning itself up. Those you can only see from the side angle. So I wish I had a if I had my druthers, I'd have a I'd take down a bunch of the satellites that are already around the Earth and put them closer to the sun, retrofit those materials. But okay, they're not asking me. Let's go ahead and look at a composite view before I start ranting. I mean, it's already an hour long. This is a pretty ranty video as we speak, but whew, look at that. Beautiful. That is this up here, this little tornado I can't take my eyes off of. But let's look at region 3576. Look at that. I said it looked like it was getting ready to erupt yesterday, and it still stayed in this like stably flowing storm. Only certain types of radiation, the shorter lengths of radiation are staying tight. This looks like it's about to do something interesting as well. Remember, these two are those nice classic beta gamma. I think they're beta gamma, or they might just be gamma, or they might just be beta type. I think they're in the right orientation of north-south for being in this northern hemisphere of the sun. But Again, this is one where you can see those waves that I was talking about, these spiral waves on the surface of the sun that we see down here in terrestrial atmospheric weather. So really cool to see the like solar storm dynamics reflect the dynamics that we get more tangible feedback of down here on Earth. And you can see that launch right there. I didn't even pay attention to where there was that big release of energy, right? Where does it go? There. When you saw the green flash like that. It's this right here. That right there. That was another significant launch. And let's look at it from the other composite here. This is the slightly longer wavelength composite, I believe. There's that launch. Let's see this again from the beginning. There's our beautiful, beautiful complex spot right there. There's the launch. There's another one starting, I believe. Another one starting right here, in my opinion. This didn't look too unstable before it launched at all. And then this looks like it's either forming a, I don't know what that is. It's interesting. I'm gonna be interested in it for sure. Yeah, this is a good image of the magnetic orientation. Really cool stuff. Okay, so I haven't even gotten into astrology. We are already at minute 6, so, all right, hour 6. So thank you all for being here with me. I just have so much to say about the weather right now. We have, and I think that's because the moon is conjunct my natal moon right now. We have the moon in Pisces, and for a transit that everyone's experiencing, the moon in Pisces is conjoining Neptune in Pisces. So actually, Neptune in Pisces has been transiting where my moon is. So the way that you are feeling this particular moon phase is how I've been feeling since we had Neptune in late Pisces. Like, let's go, get with the program. We're grungy, we're sad, but we're going to make cool art about it and through it. And actually, you couldn't make the cool art without being sad. So it's actually pretty awesome that you get to dive as deep as you can. This is the last decan of Pisces. This is the Marianas Trench of the zodiac. This is the deepest of the deep of the ocean, where actual change happens, where the big tectonic shifts are happening, but they're so far below kilometers and kilometers of, or miles and miles of heavy ocean water that we're like, is that even a change? Do we even count that as an earthquake? Yeah, you do, because it's actually the most significant change on Earth. It's what gets us to the first decan of Aries. Fun fact, last decan of Pisces and the first decan of Aries, both ruled by Mars. And they represent the last phase of gestation into the first days of birth. Okay, so I'm really muddling my astrological traditions in this one. But speaking of Mars and last decans, we've got Mars in his very last day of Capricorn here at 29 degrees of Capricorn. If y'all have been feeling like you're getting your ass kicked by Mars in Capricorn, you're ready to be a burden will be lifted. But if you feel like you've been very efficient and getting things done very well, maybe we need to take that energy that you've been doing the things in a Capricorn way and shift them into an Aquarian way. And what I mean by that is, as soon as Mars leaves Capricorn, it's going to join Pluto here in Aquarius, and we will be once again back to an Aquarius season with an Aquarius stellium. So don't hate technology and don't hate big organized groups of people. Just understand how they can edify you, and how you're already a part of them and it won't be so scary. But first you have to face the fact that technology is advancing, and you have to face the fact that superstructures of human relationships will emerge. You just got to get comfortable with that and see what you can do about it from there. Not what you can do about it, but really the healed Aquarius archetype understands why you need to be a Leonine individual in order for the larger superstructure to work. Aquarius's symbol is literally waves. It's literally waves. It's the waves, guys. It's the analog, and people think it's digital right now, but it's actually analog. It's the technology of the analog, in my opinion. And these are me just like absolutely transcending, not transcending. I'm communicating all my bullshit opinions to you right now, because I'm feeling this Mercury in Aquarius. I feel like I should say what I think. And if I'm wrong, at least I said what I thought. I think that's more important to the scientific process. I think throwing out your hypotheses and testing and observing them is more important to the scientific process than dogmatism. So, don't turn science into a religion. Remember that it's a process. And remember that religion always reveals something that is not being fulfilled through your scientific dogmatism. Okay. What I mean by that is we are here at the frontiers of both spirituality and science, represented by Saturn in Pisces. Feeling very emboldened by this Saturn sextile Jupiter and Taurus to tell you guys that we're pushing the boundaries for a reason here on Today's Weather Tonight. It's because I'm doing an experiment. What if somebody just said their thoughts about every type of thing that they thought was weather every day? And we are here on February 11th, number of days into the year of me doing that. So stick around. There will be more unhinged opinions about what counts as science later on in the year. But yeah, we're here at this, even though Mars is still in Capricorn and about to move into Aquarius, it is in a conjunct aspect to Pluto right now. And let's see, both of those are, I would say they're roughly squaring. They're not really roughly squaring anything. I mean, they're in an 8-degree orb to squaring Jupiter in Taurus, but that, I feel like we won't feel the impacts of that until Mars is actually more at a square exact aspect to Jupiter in Taurus. Man, so many mundane predictions are going through my head. Like, what if AI tells investment bankers that there will be a great harvest this year, but they weren't paying attention to the real weather, and the real weather is actually like crops are kind of fucked. Well, not all crops are fucked, but I am saying that in the upper plains in the area of farmland America that counts on wintertime snow, they have not had snowpack and deep frost, deep freezing into the soil. And it's actually cost the soil a lot of moisture, even though we've gotten a lot of rain. The soil counts on the freeze and thaw cycles to lock away some moisture. So there's probably going to be a drop in I would expect corn production from the United States this year, but that's just me. I'm not, listen, I don't do stocks. I don't do forecasting. I'm just saying, I don't like the look of Mars just off its conjunction with Pluto and Aquarius squaring Jupiter and Taurus. Taurus representing food, not just food, but also material sustenance and what you actually need to survive. Not what you think you need, but what you actually need. And then some, because also luxury. The only thing, we just got this sun off of squaring Uranus, and then Mercury is gonna go from squaring Jupiter to squaring Uranus. So y'all buckle up, have fun. There's gonna be, I think, when the moon moves through Taurus this in a couple days, the moon going from this area into this area, I think that lines up with when we're expecting these massive solar windstorms, like the effect of the solar flares. So that'll be quite interesting to see how that lines up. Also to see how that lines up with our geosciences. Yeah, I don't want to go into I try really hard not to predict things on this stream. This is me trying really hard not to conjecture and put out there. This is me trying really hard to just say the facts of what happened. The facts of what happened are today is Mars's last degree in being exalted in Capricorn. So from there, I'm going to do, we did our solar weather, then we did our planetary weather, and now I'm going to go to our cosmic weather as the largest area that we talk about on this stream. Oh, I didn't even tell you what planetary day and hour we're in. We've been through multiple planetary hours in this stream, but now we are finally on a sun day in a sun hour. And we have been for the last 46 minutes. And this is why I do this stream. I had no idea the way that planetary hours were affecting me. I started observing planetary days in my daily life last year in 2023. And I noticed that, like, doing things associated with the planets on those days really helped me get them done. And through this stream, I have observed that I have the best streams for me, vibe-wise. Like, I feel like I'm on it when the planetary hour is aligned with the planetary day. So, like, today is Sunday. It's the day of the sun. And currently, it's a sun hour. And they go in progression the same way. And I feel great doing the stream at this moment. So, I think if I could elect to always do my stream during the correct hour of the day, that would be great. But that puts it through like 7 different, and it's not all planets. It's like the moon and the sun are included. So it's the personal planets and the luminaries. The sun and moon, we call the luminaries. Anyway. What I'm saying is that's like a 7-hour range of when this show would go up if I always did it during the planetary hour, because the same planetary hour is not always the same throughout the day because they stagger a little. But tapping the Labrador. Anyway, I'm done talking about the planets now. I'm talking about the energies coming from beyond the planets, and I use the chaotic cartomancy in order to listen to cosmic weather and seeing what we're getting from beyond the ether. Even I would say the ether, but I think the ether is the wee ether, the weather. So I like to keep labradorite on. I like to tap it. It feels so good. Very pretty. I can never get the flash to show up on this webcam, but it's probably just something you'll have to see in person. You can almost see it right there. Right there. Do you see this blue, teal, purple? You can see this inside of the rock. Yeah. It looks like my hair almost. Yeah, I want to say I had labradorite hair. I wanted to say I had malachite hair when I first dyed it, but now I want to say it's labradorite hair. Would you guys watch a video of me cutting and dyeing my hair? Because I think I'm going to make one. I've already done many of those, but not since I started this show. So comment down below if you would like to see me, how I do my hair. And by do my hair, I don't mean fix it, because every day I just brush it with a boar bristle brush. That's a mean person once taught me the most valuable thing they ever taught me, which is that a boar bristle brush will save you thousands in conditioner. Just use your natural oils. Like, your hair is making what you think is grease in order to keep your hair nice and conditioned all the time. You just are using plastic brushes that smear it away and don't do a good job of redistributing it from root to tip. So don't get root conditioner from root to tip. Get your boar bristle brush going and get your own natural oils all the way down there, baby. Okay. See, it's a sun day and a sun hour, and I feel like I'm just entitled to talk about whatever I want, just ignoring the fact that I already told the cosmos that I'm trying to call in a message from them. So, all right, let me get back into feeling the energy of this deck so I can feel what we're supposed to talk about. And any cards want to make themselves known. I think this one was trying to. Okay. We got the moon. Very great compliment to what I was talking about in our astrology update. The nature, because I feel like the moon card, in addition to feeling Piscean to me because my moon's in Pisces, feels so mysterious and nocturnal in that very late water, mutable water type of feeling. But it's also got a scorpion right here representing Scorpio. Also interesting moon beams coming down to Earth, and pillars, and a fox and a wolf howling at the moon, baying at the moon, or a dog and a wolf. I really don't. Some people think that the one with the pointy ears is a fox, but I think it looks like a dog and a wolf, not a fox and a wolf. Let's get another one. What specifically about the moon card? Okay. Specifically about the moon card, we got the King of Cups. So that's telling me that we're really honing in on the water element of the moon card here, and more like an executor of emotions and not a manipulator. But if you see the King of Cups, is he bearing water? Is he a water bearer? Sometimes you have to have the masculine that can hold the capacity for mystery, hold the capacity for the feminine mystery in the moon, the highest state of emotional, not dominance. Well, it kind of is emotional dominance. The highest form of emotional dominance is being able to hold space for whatever emotions come up, not even manipulating what the emotions are. I have to sit with the King of Cups for a long time because it also kind of represents like the male manipulator type, or like the sad boy type in its lower form. So it's hard for me to find the higher form of the King of Cups. I think that's what mystery I'm still holding space for, is like, I know there's got to be a reason that we have water sign men. You know, I know there's got to be a reason. So I'm holding space for that. I will figure it out one day. And in that liminal space, I'm going to pull a liminal space card, which is sitting here with my ocean jasper that looks like the planet of Jupiter. Let's see what our liminal space deck has to say today. Oh, shuffles so much better. These are a nice quality deck. I don't think you can get this deck anymore, but I love it. It's that good scratchy kind. Oh, this also sounds like what we were talking about in the astrology update, the software update, the technology, the Aquarian age, not just the age of Aquarius, but the time of Pluto in Aquarius, the software update. What's it say on the computer? This is an invitation to everyone. If denied, all life will be experienced through the lens of our soft date and what's it say? Your out-of-date software. This may improve upon old features. Oh, this is an invitation to evolve. If declined, all life will be experienced through the lens of your old date and software. This may improve upon old features or add something entirely new. That's what it says in the little computer coming through the portal in the software update card. And we're getting that through the moon and the King of Cups. Screams emotional update, nervous system regulation update, and 5D. Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying not to say it the entire time, but 5D. Not going to be that person. I'm not going to be that hippie, but it's talking about how the entire world has to get on managing their emotions responsibly in order to upgrade the physical human form to be able to experience the fifth dimension of perception, which we currently label as emotional experiences. But they're actually very scientific information, these emotional experiences. Let's see what the software update actually says in this. Yeah, this is an invitation to evolve. If declined, all life will be experienced through the lens of your outdated software. This may improve upon old features or add something entirely new. So, that's what's happening. Listen, I'm just the Rearcaster. I'm just telling you what I've observed. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to think it's science. I am using the scientific process throughout this, and I will yield my results. You're watching an unfolding experiment, but you don't have to even respect my methods. You'll understand them once I've gone through peer review. And my peers will review me. And that includes people who get the software update. Okay? Okay. I think that's been quite enough for this update. It's been an hour and a half. I think this was better than football. I don't really care about football. And not in a way that I'm like anti-foot. Like, I'm not making it my personality that I don't care about it. I'm just like, it's not that interesting. And you're not interesting for not thinking it's not interesting either. You know what is interesting? Actually having a passion and talking about it a lot. So that's what I do here. I talk about what I'm interested in so that I demonstrate the vibe of being interested in something. And maybe you're not interested in what I'm talking about, but you'll be interested in the feeling of what it's like to be so engaged in a topic. So that's all this is. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. The community page is where I post a lot of extra sources and more knowledgeable people about the different areas of science that I haven't gotten as much extensive training on. Official academic training. I've gotten nerd training all day. But I'll post a lot more links in the community tab on my YouTube channel. I broadcast every day on YouTube, and I put these in order of a podcast playlist in the Today's Weather Tonight podcast playlist. So please do go check that out if you feel like it. And if you don't, that's okay. I just love you for being here anyway. All right. Have a good night. I love you so much.